Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slam of Wrestling. Myself Supreet, and this is the review for Ring of Honor's Final Battle 2019 pay-per-view. If this is your first time on the channel, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for all notifications. All pro wrestling related stuff, including reviews for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW Dynamite, and New Japan as well. So, talking about Final Battle, we had the pre-show before the main card. So we had a tag team match, Dalton Castle and Joe Hendry versus Silas Young and Josh Woods. So Hendry and Young started the match and went for a lockup exchange. Hendry works into counters, trips up Young and they work to the ground. Back to the feet and Hendry hits a shoulder tackle. They work into counters and end in a standoff. Woods and Castle tag in, they grapple and work to the mat as they trade pin attempts. They pose and Young tags in as Castle tags Hendry. Hendry hits a suplex for a 2. Hendry takes over until Young attacks Castle and takes control of the match. Young attacks the back and started talking trash. Woods tags in and grounds things covering for a 2. Castle fires back and hits a suplex. Hendry and Woods tag in. Hendry runs wild and picks up both Young and Woods for a double follow-away slam. Castle in and follows with a knee strikes. Young cuts him off with a suplex and Woods cradles Castle for a 2. Final parts of the match saw Woods suplexes Hendry. Young and Woods got the win after hitting the slingshot knee strike combo on Castle, and that was it. The Allure were interviewed about Angelina Love's match with Manik. She says that she is not afraid of Manik and will prove why she is a 7-time champion. Alex Shelley arrives and puts over Baltimore and also puts over the great talent in ROH. He said that some of the great talents come back to Ring of Honor as teachers. Shelley mentioned that Colt Cabana doesn't have a match on the show tonight and they have never wrestled before. Therefore, he challenges Colt Cabana for a match. Cabana appreciates him as well. And even though he's coming off a long tour of the New Japan's World Tag League and is the current NWA National Champion, he said that he would love to be on Final Battle and accepted Shelley's challenge. Kenny King vs Rhett Titus. Titus's wife and newborn son were at ringside. Kenny King and Amy Rose come out to the theme song of All Night Express, a tag team that consisted of himself and Titus. Onto the match, both men go for a lockup, working to the ropes and a break. Lockup again, King hits a shoulder tackle as they work into counters. King works the arm until Titus takes him down. King stuns him off the ropes, hits a clothesline. Outside, King talks trash to Titus's wife until Titus takes out King with a tope, which was almost botched. They brawl at ringside, belly to belly by Titus and back in. Titus dumps him back to the floor. Titus hugs his son and follows with a suplex on King. King cuts him off with a spine buster to the apron and back in. And back in covers for a 2. Titus fires back but King suplexes him to the buckles and covers for a 2. The camel clutch follows, Titus counters out and follows with a strikes and a corner splash followed by a clothesline. The charge is countered but Titus fires back and King cuts him off with an enziguri. They work up top, Titus shoves him off and hits a high cross body for a 2 count. King then counters into a spine buster for yet another 2. King hit the lethal injection which is countered. Titus picks up King for the royal flush which is the finisher of Kenny King but only got a 2. Final parts of the match saw Amy Rose had the referee distracted. King took advantage of this, hit the low blow on Titus followed by the royal flush to get the win here. The bouncers were interviewed at ringside. They were drinking beers and having a great time. When asked about their picks for the main event, they were split between Rouge and PCO. So moving on, we had Dan Maff versus Jeff Cobb. This is my first time seeing a Dan Maff match. So match begins. Both men start brawling from the get-go. Cobb hits a dropkick but Maff shakes it off and dumps him to the outside. The suicide dive follows and back in. Maff follows with a strikes and some chops until Cobb cuts him off with a suplex and a standing moonsault but only gets a 2. Cobb follows with chops but Maff hits a pounce. Maff hits a cannonball but misses on the second attempt. Both men work up to the top. Cobb hits an incredible deadlift suplex. Cobb went for the tour of the islands but was countered. Headbutt by Maff and they trade super kicks. Lariat by Cobb and both men are down. Back to the feet, both men start trading chops and strike yet again. A German suplex by Cobb and he follows with some chops and strikes, unloading on Maff as the running uppercut follows. Maff hits a huge spear and the ripcord lariat which only got a 2. Maff tried to finish it off with a burning hammer but is countered. Cobb overhead suplexes him to the buckles. They work up to the top. Maff fights and slips out and hits the cheeky Nando's kick, but Cobb counters into the tour of the islands, pulls down his straps and hits yet another tour of the islands to get the victory here. This was a great match, or you can say a great horse fight. Post match, they shake hands and chop each other as a sign of respect. On to the main card. First match of the main card was Flip Gordon and Marty Scurll versus Flamita and Bandito. Brody King was on commentary. So Gordon and Flamita begin locking up and trading shoulder tackles. They pick up the pace working into counters and they end in a standoff. Scurll and Bandito tag in, they lock up and work into a series of counters. Scurll gets the cradle for a 2 count. Flamita and Gordon tag in as double team follows on Gordon. Flamita hits a splash of Bandito's shoulders and covers for a 2 count. Gordon pokes the eyes and drags him to the floor as double team follows. Scurll grounds Flamita and starts working the arm. He follows with chops, tags in Gordon and the PK follows for a 2 count. And Gordon back in, Flamita fights them off, hits a super kick and tags in Bandito. He follows with a high tornado press and a couple of strikes. Flamita joins in for a double team as they get a near fall of this. Bandito and Flamita were in full control. At one point, Flamita almost botches an assisted dive. They continue to double team Gordon, but Gordon battles back and hits a DDT on Bandito for a 2 count. Scurll tags in, they hit a double team on Flamita until Bandito flies in with a missile dropkick. The Flossberry flop on the outside. In the ring, Flamita hit a Spanish fly on Gordon for a 2 count. Final parts of the match saw Bandito hit a double 21 plex with a 619 from Flamita, which got them the win here. This was a good opener, and this was one of the final dates for Marty Scurll in Ring of Honor. I was expecting a double turn of some sort from Flip Gordon. Maybe that can happen at the final battle All Out show. Moving on, we had Vincent versus Matt Taven. Taven charges the ring and they brawl right away. Taven follows with a dive and he peels up the mats on the floor. Vincent cuts him off and slams him to the barricade. Taven dumps him into the ground and follows with a dive. They work back into the ring. Taven hits an enziguri. He follows with a spin kick and a sit-out spine buster, which only got a 2 count. Taven works a modified cloverleaf, but Vincent escapes and runs into the DDT for a 2 count. Vincent fires back, dumps Taven, and Vincent suplexes Taven onto the exposed floor. Back in, Vincent talks tracks as he beats down Taven. Taven fires back, but Vincent hits a knee strike and a Russian leg sweep for a 2 count. Vincent starts targeting the previously injured leg of Taven. Taven made a comeback with a big lariat. Both men are down. Vincent stuns him off the ropes, but Taven dumps him and follows with a tope. Taven then hit a splash to Vincent on the apron. Back in, Taven covers, but only gets a 2 count. They work into counters. Taven hits the climax only for a 2 as Vincent got his foot on the ropes. Another climax, Vincent kicks out at 2. Taven was pissed at this point, therefore he gets Vincent's axe. Vincent lured him in and hit the sliced bread, which got him the victory here. Post-match, Bateman came out and tombstone Taven. Vincent brings in a wooden block and they attack the injured leg of Taven. This was a okay match. Vincent is one creepy dude, I can give him that. And let's see if Vincent along with Bateman form a new faction or not. Mark Haskins versus Bully Ray in a street fight. Haskins came out first with his wife Vicky. Bully Ray sneak attacks the couple by hitting them with a barbed wire board. Vicky is taken to the back as Bully attacks Haskins with chair shots. Bully takes control in the ring, slowly working over Haskins and throwing him around with German suplexes. He pulls out a piece of guardrail, slides it in, and Germans Haskins onto it. He puts the guardrail in the corner and hits a full Nelson bomb. Bully gets a cheese grater, follows with a couple of jabs. Haskins finally cuts him off with an enziguri. Bully made a comeback, gets a kendo stick and a chair. He grabs the mic and starts talking trash, hitting Haskins with a kendo stick and calling him a jobber. Haskins calls him a pussy, daring him to keep attacking. Bully keeps attacking. Haskins tells him to fuck off and slams Bully onto the chair. He follows with couple of chair shots, kicks the chair onto his face and grabs a ladder. He starts stomping Bully's arm into the chair and sets up the ladder. Bully knocks him off onto the guardrail, grabs a table and then the barbed wire board. He sets up the table, lays the barbed wire board onto it and sets up for a super power bomb. Haskins fires back, but Bully slams him onto the barbed wire and jumps on him to break the table. Bully went for the cover but only got a 2 count. Bully then started mimicking the Great Muta for some reason. Bully takes out the ref, gets a new table and sets it up. He paints his face with Haskins' blood and lays him on the table. Vicky arrives and low blows him with the cheese grater. Bully was in pain and screamed, "My balls!" Vicky and Haskins slam Bully through the table, followed by a double stomp by Haskins. Ref made the 3 count and that was it. Look, if the plan was to put Mark Haskins over, I think they failed here because this was just a match. That's it. The crowd was not behind Haskins. Nothing much to talk about it. Alex Shelley versus Colt Cabana. They shake hands and went for a lockup, working into counters and back to the feet. Cabana starts working the arm and they work into counters again. Shelley grabs the arm, transitions into the leg and grounds the action. Cabana counters back. Great exchanges here as they work into a standoff. Cabana grounds Shelley with a body scissors. Shelley starts attacking the legs and counters into a pendulum hold. Cabana escapes as Shelley looks frustrated. Shelley picks up the pace and counters. Cabana followed it up with a Superman pin but only gets a 2 count. Shelley quickly went for the inside cradle which got him the win here. Short match, but this was really fun and great. Didn't know that Colt Cabana was such a good technical wrestler. And by the way, this was his last appearance with Ring of Honor. What's next for him? I don't know. Maybe he works NWA and the Indies, or maybe he shows up. Maybe he somehow ends up in AEW. We'll have to wait and see. Maria Manik versus Angelina Love was accompanied by Mandy Leon. This was a squash match. Manik rushes the rings, runs wild on Angelina. She chokes out Angelina, slams Leon to the mat and works them over. Leon spills to the floor. Manik tosses Angelina across the ring and follows with a running boot. Manik then celebrates. Back in, Manik hit a powerbomb. Manik was celebrating it again. Leon was back again but was taken out by Manik. Angelina tried for a high cross body. Manik catches the high cross into a follower slam. Outside, Manik slams Leon on the floor and press slams Angelina onto a table at ringside. Manik steals someone's MJF scarf and drinks some water. She rolls Angelina back in and locks in the torture rack, which got her the win here. Maria Manik is a star in the making. A great decision to make her squash Angelina Love. But it went too long. It should have been a quick win, but still Maria Manik looked like a legit threat. One thing that I can say about Maria Manik is that Ring of Honor is really blessed to have her. Moving on, the first title match of the night. For the Ring of Honor Television Championship, Shane Taylor was defending the title against Dragon Lee. Lee came in with a couple of strikes, but Taylor fires back with ground and pound A drop kick by Lee and onto the floor. Taylor chokeslam Lee on the apron. Taylor follows with couple of chops, sits him on a chair ringside and follows with a running knee strike. Taylor takes him to the apron and hits a very Undertaker-esque big leg drop. He follows with a couple of elbows and back in and hits another leg drop for a 2 count. Taylor starts talking trash to Lee, lays in thunderous chops and lays down. Taylor misses the corner charge. Lee dumps him and follows with a suicide dive. Lee then connects with the tope con hilo. Back in, Lee hits combination cabron. He follows with some strikes, kicks and the bullhorns which only got a 2 count. Taylor fires back with a clothesline. Drop kick by Lee and the knee strike follows. Lee heads up to the top and hits the double stomp to the apron. Back in, Lee up top and hits a second double foot stomp which only gets a 2 count. Lee slaps Taylor. Taylor fires back and they trade. Headbutt by Taylor and Lee hits the knee strike until Taylor hits a lariat, a knee strike and a package pile driver for a 2 count. Lee fires up and hits the snap German but Taylor rebounds and hits a German of his own. Taylor climbs the ropes. Lee cuts him off into a tree of low and follows with a double foot stomp. Lee hits a running knee strike which gets a 2 count. Taylor gets a chain wraps around his fist and went for a KO punch. Lee cuts him off again with a Canadian destroyer. Lee gets the chain and wraps around his knee pad and hit another running knee strike. Lee went for the pin but Taylor kicks out at 1. Lee picked up Taylor for the Destiny Codora but Taylor kicks out. Lee takes out Taylor's manager, drops the knee pad and hits a running knee strike. Referee made the 3 count and now Dragon Lee is your new Ring of Honor television champion. This was a good match. Dragon Lee deserved the title after the role he has been on for the last 2 years, and it made sense for Shane Taylor to drop the title as he is leaving Ring of Honor. I think Shane Taylor was a perfect fit in Ring of Honor and he can be a great pick for either AEW or Impact Wrestling or wherever he wants to go. Next up, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles were on the line. The Briscoes were defending their titles against Jay Lethal and Jonathon Gresham. Mark and Gresham began locking up and working to the ropes. Gresham grounds things, breaks the ice and they break. Lethal tags in and Jay joins him. Lethal tags out and Jay grounds Gresham, tags in Mark and the double team follows. Jay follows with kicks as Lethal tags in and lays the boots to Jay. He follows with chops, strikes and Jay hits a shoulder tackle. They lock up and work to the ropes. Mark tags him, follows with strikes and chops. Lethal fires back. Gresham came in. Gresham dropkicks Mark to the floor. They all brawl to the floor. Gresham is sent into the ring post. Mark follows with a dive and hit Cactus Jack like elbow drop from the apron. They double team Lethal and back in. Lethal wrecks the ice as double team follows, attacking the knee of Mark. The challengers look for the Doomsday. Jay makes the save and Lethal follows with a suicide dive. Missile dropkick by Gresham and they look for the Doomsday again, but Mark cuts that off with an avalanche cutter. Doomsday on Gresham and Lethal makes the save. Lethal came in with a super kick but Jay cuts him off. Mark grounds the action. Jay tags in and hits a headbutt. He chokes out Lethal and Mark tags back in for a double team move. Mark attacks the injured arm of Lethal. Lethal made the tag to Gresham. Gresham runs wild, hits a missile dropkick and a suicide dive. Lethal hit the lethal injection on Mark. Gresham came in with a shooting star press and Jay makes the save. Gresham takes out Mark's knee and grounds the action. Lethal tags in and a double team move follows. The challengers continue to isolate Mark until Mark hits an exploder. Lethal and Jay tag in, trading strikes, and Jay takes control with headbutts and uppercuts. A cutter is countered into a Death Valley driver and Jay cradles Lethal for a 2 count. Jay hit the Jay Driller on Lethal and that gets only a 2 as Gresham pulls out the referee. Mark takes him out. Lethal got one of the tag titles and used it on Mark. Lethal went for the pin but Mark kicked out at 2. Lethal quickly locked in a figure 4 while Gresham was choking out Mark on the floor. Mark escapes, slams Gresham on the apron. Mark heads to the top, hits the froggy board to save Jay. The Briscoes look for the Doomsday but Gresham makes the save and Lethal credits Jay with the tights to get the win here and become the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. Good match here. It started a bit slow but really picked up in the final parts. If I would recommend someone a match from this pay-per-view, I would tell them to check out this tag team match. The Briscoes are great. This new makeshift tag team of Lethal and Gresham are great as well. Looking forward to see more of them come 2020. Main event for the Ring of Honor World Championship, Rouge defending the title against PCO in a Friday the 13th Massacre match, which is a typical no DQ match. Match begins and they brawl at the get-go as Rouge hits a running knee strike but runs into a lariat. PCO looks for a dive but Rush hits him with a chair shot and slams him to the barricades. He then whips him with a cable and back in. Rouge follows with chops, a corner attack and a basement dropkick. Rouge beats him down in the corner and kicks him in the face as he was in tranquilo mode. Rouge locks in a hanging armbar from the apron. Rouge grabs a small ladder and tosses it in the ring. He throws it at PCO, wedges it in the corner but it falls out. He sent PCO crashing into the ladder. Rouge was celebrating at this point. PCO fires, hits a pop-up powerbomb and a suicide cannonball. He sets Rouge on the apron and heads up to the top for a diving senton but misses. PCO was down on the floor. Rouge suplexes him onto the table at ringside. They brawl near the entranceway and by PCO's hearse, which was filled with pyrotechnic smoke. He hits PCO with a barricade, piles a few up and adds chairs to the pile. PCO fires back, they trade chops and battle onto the stage. Rouge tosses him off onto the pile and once again celebrates. Destro arrives and gets a jumper cable to revive PCO. PCO fires up and chokeslam Rush on the hood of the hearse. PCO follows with a leg drop on the top of the hood. Rouge recovered and tosses PCO to the floor with an overhead belly to belly. PCO gets a crowbar but Rouge avoids him and went for the attack. He heads back to the ring. PCO follows and Rouge got some doors from under the ring. He props them in the corners, hits a German on PCO and the knee strike follows for just a 2 count. Rouge up top and hits a big senton, only for a 1. Rouge breaks a door over PCO's head, suplexes him through another. PCO fires up and spears him through the other door. PCO went for the cover but only got a 2 count. PCO up top and hit the PCO salt. Rouge kicks at a 2. Destro slides in a table. PCO sets it up. Rouge follows with a chair shot. He went to the outside to take out Destro and dumps him into the crowd. Back in, PCO hits a chokeslam, lays him on the table and hit the PCO salt to get the win and become the new Ring of Honor World Champion. This was not a good match as I was expecting a lot from this. Some of the things they did was really unnecessary. And about them crowning PCO the World Champion, there are good and bad things about it. The good thing is PCO winning a world title after an unbelievable resurgence is a great story. But the bad thing is, does a 50-year-old PCO really needs a world title? And was it worth it to sacrifice Rouge's undefeated streak for this? They could have made Rouge retain here. Then you can build up someone like Flip Gordon or Jeff Cobb as a legit title contender. And Rouge could have dropped the title to any one of those guys. But that's my take on this. Let's see how this PCO reign turns out. So that was Final Battle 2019. Overall, this was a meh pay-per-view. Not good, not bad. So what did you guys think about Final Battle 2019? Let me know in the comment section below or on social media. You can find Slam Up Wrestling on Twitter at SlamUpW, Instagram at SlamUp Wrestling. Our podcast and reviews are mainly audio based. And if you don't want your YouTube app running for that, then you can catch Slam Up Wrestling on Anchor and Spotify as well. And if you are watching on YouTube, then make sure to like this video. The like goals for this video are 10 likes, so make sure you do that. And we will see you guys next time.